Okay, so I'm just going to do one more quick video about the master budget, and this one is about the interest payments. So in the question, we see that our company likes to have $6 million of cash on hand at the end of every quarter, just I suppose to just cover miscellaneous expenses. So if we look at our cash projections budget, we're going to see that throughout the whole first year, we don't need to borrow any money. We always sort of have ample cash on hand to cover all of our expenses. So our ending bank balance here is going to become our beginning bank balance. You can see that this cell is linked to this cell. What's kind of going to screw us up as a company, though, is this beast right here. We got to pay a $20 million bond back, and that is going to leave us a little bit in the hole. We don't lose money, but we're below our $6 million that we want to have to cover any expenses we have. So we need to borrow money from our line of credit to get us up to our 6 million. So what we're going to do is we're going to see, to get to 6 million, how much do we need to borrow? So if we have 4.8 million and we subtract that amount from 6 million, we're going to see that we need to borrow about, $1.1 million. So we're also told that when our company borrows money, we always borrow it on the first day of the quarter, and when we repay money, we repay it on the last day of the quarter, which means we keep the money for a minimum of 3 whole months or 1/4 of the year. So in this case, we borrowed this, let's just call it $1.1 million. We borrowed it on January the 1st. And it accumulated interest during January, February, and March, or 3 months. So we pay 4% interest on that. So if we want to see how much interest we would pay in a year, we would multiply that amount by 4%. And we would see that in 1 year, we're going to pay $46,000 and change of interest on that money we borrowed. But we didn't have it the whole year. We just had it the 1/4, or 4 months. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide that number by 4. And we're going to get this number here. That's how much interest we're going to pay on the amount we borrowed. So we come into the next quarter and we see we do pretty well. We have $12 million in our bank account before we pay anything back. So even if we pay back the whole 1.1 million plus the interest, we're still going to have significantly more than $6 million. So we can afford to pay that whole borrowed amount back. And we don't want to keep it any longer than we have to. So the other thing, remembering back to the question, we're going to pay it back on the last day of the quarter. So if this is January, February, March, this is going to be April, May, and June. And we're going to pay this money back on June the 30th. So that means it's going to accumulate interest for those 3 months. And we already seen that this is the interest expense for 3 months or 1/4. So we're going to accumulate that whole amount, and we got to pay that back too. So that's where we get the interest expense. And then to get the total interest expense for the whole year, well, we would just total up this whole column. So we'd click on that cell plus that cell. And we would see that that was how much money we spent in total on interest across our whole 2 years. And I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense.